There are women in this world who carry a presence that defies explanation. It's not about beauty, wealth, or intelligence. It's something far more ancient, far more dangerous, and infinitely more magnetic. Carl Jung dedicated years of his life studying these women, and what he discovered was both fascinating and deeply unsettling. These women embody a psychological force that is simultaneously a gift and a burden. It's not written on their faces or displayed in their actions. It's hidden deep within their aura, in the way they disturb, heal, and awaken everyone around them. Today, we're going to explore the 7 hidden signs of women with rare spiritual power through the lens of Jung's revolutionary psychology. But I need you to stay with me until the very end, because the final sign is the most dangerous one.
The one Jung warned could either elevate a woman to her highest destiny or destroy her completely if she remains unaware of it. And before we begin, if you're drawn to understanding the deeper mysteries of the human psyche and Jung's profound insights, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss what's coming in this journey. Some women don't need to speak to command every ounce of attention in a room. They can walk into a crowded space without uttering a single word, and somehow, inexplicably, all eyes turn toward them. This isn't about conventional beauty or even standard charisma. This is something that exists on an entirely different plane of existence, something invisible, yet undeniable. Carl Jung would identify this as the power of projection emanating from the unconscious mind. When a woman carries this intense inner energy, people instinctively sense it at a subconscious level and immediately begin projecting their deepest fantasies, their hidden desires, and their secret fears onto her. To some observers, she appears almost goddess-like, radiating an otherworldly presence. To others, she represents a profound threat to their sense of reality and control. This is precisely why women of genuine spiritual power often find themselves simultaneously admired and deeply misunderstood. They transcend being mere individuals. They become living symbols, walking archetypes that trigger something primal in the human psyche. People cannot logically explain why they're drawn to these women, why their presence lingers in memory long after they've left, or why they feel mysteriously unsettled when in their company. This gravitational pull is not loud or boisterous.
It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It is silent, subtle, yet completely undeniable to those sensitive enough to perceive it. Jung wrote extensively about archetypes, those deep, ancient patterns of the psyche that live within the collective unconscious of all humanity. Women with high spiritual power naturally embody such archetypes. They become the wise woman, the witch, the muse, the oracle, the healer, the destroyer. And here lies a profound paradox that Jung identified. While their aura feels like a crown of power, it simultaneously feels like a prison. Because when people perceive you as a symbol rather than a person,
They rarely see the vulnerable human being underneath all that energy. They become enamored with the power you represent, but they don't always love the actual person you are.
They project onto you what they need you to be, not who you truly are. But this silent gravity is only the surface. Because beneath this magnetic aura lies another unseen sign, one that creates a paradox at the very heart of their existence. And if you're recognizing these patterns in yourself or someone you know, drop a comment below. I read every single one. To the outside world, these women often appear deeply connected to everyone around them. They naturally attract friends, lovers, and seekers. People who desperately want to bask in their presence, to absorb some of that inexplicable energy. And yet, in their inner world, they live with a profound and often painful solitude that few can understand. Jung spoke extensively about the archetype of the wise woman, a figure who is simultaneously sought after by many, yet inherently set apart from the crowd.
This paradox exists because women of genuine spiritual power possess an ability to see into others with startling, almost uncomfortable clarity. They can pierce through the carefully constructed masks that people wear in daily life, instantly sensing the pain, the insecurity, the longing, and the darkness that lies beneath the surface. This penetrating perception makes others feel exposed, vulnerable, and sometimes even threatened. While people admire these women from a distance, they rarely know how to approach them with full authenticity. There's an unconscious fear of being truly seen, truly known. So these women often exist in a state of what I call half-belonging. They're surrounded by people constantly, yet rarely genuinely understood by anyone. It's like standing perpetually on a bridge, with one foot planted in the material world and one foot suspended in solitude.
And here's what most people don't understand. This solitude is not a weakness or a flaw in their character. This is precisely where their extraordinary strength is born. In these moments of solitude, they commune with their inner world, with dreams, with symbols, with visions that others cannot access. But let's be honest about something Jung never shied away from. This paradox is not easy to live with. Many women with high spiritual power feel profoundly lonely even when they're in romantic relationships, because their depth is so rarely matched by their partners. The very things that make them powerful also make them difficult to truly connect with on an equal level. And yet, this very solitude sharpens something within them, something that brings us to the next unseen sign, a gift that feels almost supernatural and yet carries its own shadows and dangers.
Jung described intuition as a form of perception
that operates through the unconscious mind. It's a way of knowing without logic, without concrete evidence, without the rational mind's involvement. For women with high spiritual power, intuition isn't just an occasional feeling or a lucky guess. It's a constant force that runs through their entire being like an electrical current. They sense events before they manifest in reality. They know with absolute certainty when someone is lying without needing any physical proof. They feel the unspoken grief in another person's heart as if that pain were their own. They can walk into a room and immediately sense the emotional undercurrents and hidden tensions that everyone else remains oblivious to. To others, this ability feels uncanny, unsettling, even frightening. To these women, it's simply their natural state, as automatic as breathing or blinking.
But Jung was very clear that this gift comes with a significant cost that cannot be ignored. Intuition often reveals truths that people desperately don't want to face. And when a woman gives voice to these uncomfortable truths, she risks being rejected, mocked, ostracized, or even feared by those around her. Think about the women throughout history who were branded as witches and persecuted. What was their actual crime in most cases? Too often, it was simply intuition, seeing too much, too clearly, too soon, speaking truths that threatened the established order. This intuitive gift can also become a source of profound pain for the woman herself. To constantly sense hidden betrayals, unspoken desires, or approaching storms is exhausting. It's like walking through life with no protective blindfold, while everyone else is comfortably sheltered in darkness and ignorance.
And this heightened perception leads us directly to the fourth unseen sign, one that reveals why such women are both intensely loved and bitterly hated, often in equal measure by different people. But before we continue, if you're finding value in this exploration of Jung's insights, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps more seekers find this content. Jung believed that anyone who radiates genuine light also inevitably draws in shadow. The brighter the flame burns, the more moths it attracts. Some come seeking warmth and illumination, while others come seeking to extinguish that light entirely. Women with high spiritual power often function as psychological mirrors in the lives of others. But they don't just reflect beauty, goodness, or positive qualities. They reflect the shadow, the hidden darkness that exists within everyone around them. A woman of this nature can enter someone's life and, without any conscious intention, expose their hidden envy, their buried resentment, their secret fears, or their denied weaknesses. This mirror effect can awaken profound admiration and inspiration in some people, but in others, it triggers intense hostility and defensive reactions. These women are loved with passionate intensity, hated with fierce determination, and rarely, if ever, simply ignored. They provoke strong reactions wherever they go. This is why some people develop resentment toward them without any logical reason, why gossip follows them, why others actively try to tear them down or diminish their light. It's crucial to understand that this hostility
is not truly about the woman herself. It's about the unconscious shadows she has inadvertently awakened in others simply by existing in her authentic power.
And yet, this mirror effect is also precisely what makes these women such powerful healers. Because to truly grow and evolve, a person must face their shadow side. And often it is the presence of such a woman that forces others to confront what they have spent years denying about themselves. But to carry this role as a mirror for others is absolutely exhausting. It makes relationships heavy and complex. It makes life intensely dramatic. And it prepares these women for the fifth unseen sign, one that shows why they seem almost otherworldly in their presence. Carl Jung's greatest psychological insight was that the human psyche is fundamentally a union of opposites, light and shadow, conscious and unconscious, masculine and feminine, creation and destruction. Women with high spiritual power embody this union in a way that feels both magnetically attractive and deeply unsettling to others.
They are not naive angels who deny the existence of darkness in themselves or the world. They have walked directly through the fire of heartbreak, betrayal, loss, and devastation. They have been completely broken apart and then consciously remade themselves. This is why their eyes seem to simultaneously carry both profound tenderness and dangerous fire. Why their presence feels both deeply comforting and subtly threatening. They are psychologically whole, not because they are perfect or without flaws, but because they have fully embraced their imperfections. They have integrated their shadow. This dance between light and darkness is what makes them authentically powerful. They don't pretend to be untouchable or above human struggles. They don't hide their scars or past wounds. Instead, they have learned to transform those wounds into wisdom, and that pain into psychological depth.
They are not naive angels who deny the existence of darkness in themselves or the world. They have walked directly through the fire of heartbreak, betrayal, loss, and devastation. They have been completely broken apart and then consciously remade themselves. This is why their eyes seem to simultaneously carry both profound tenderness and dangerous fire. Why their presence feels both deeply comforting and subtly threatening. They are psychologically whole, not because they are perfect or without flaws, but because they have fully embraced their imperfections. They have integrated their shadow. This dance between light and darkness is what makes them authentically powerful. They don't pretend to be untouchable or above human struggles. They don't hide their scars or past wounds. Instead, they have learned to transform those wounds into wisdom and that pain into psychological depth. For women of genuine spiritual power, this inner voice is louder than the expectations of society. It's louder than the opinions of family members.
It's louder than the seductive temptations of comfort and safety. This voice tells them to walk away from relationships that suffocate their spirit, even when it breaks their heart. It tells them to reject conformity and conventional paths, even if it isolates them socially. It tells them to create, to speak their truth, to live authentically, even when the entire world mocks or rejects them. This unwavering commitment to their inner voice makes them appear stubborn, rebellious, difficult, or impossible to control. But they are not being difficult for the sake of being difficult. They are being faithful to their inner compass, to their soul's true direction.
And Jung issued a stark warning about this inner voice. Ignoring it or suppressing it is psychologically dangerous. If this voice is consistently suppressed, it can manifest as severe depression, internal chaos, self-destructive behaviors, or even complete psychological breakdown. Such women must honor their inner voice or risk being consumed by the shadow side of that ignored energy. But this powerful inner voice also serves another function. It prepares them for the final, most unseen sign, the one that carries both their ultimate destiny and their greatest danger. And this is where Jung's warning becomes absolutely critical. Jung believed with absolute conviction that individuals with high spiritual energy are not meant for comfortable lives. They are not here to simply exist in peace. They are meant for transformation, both of themselves and of others.
For women with this power, life is rarely gentle or easy. They are thrown repeatedly into storms, betrayals, devastating losses, and existential crises, not to punish them or break them, but to refine them like gold in fire. Life itself uses them as vessels for transformation. They are not just here to live ordinary lives. They are here to awaken others, to catalyze change, to disrupt stagnant patterns. This is why people who cross their path are rarely the same afterward. Some feel healed in their presence. Some feel shaken to their core. Some feel inspired to change their entire lives. But no one leaves untouched or unchanged. Their very existence acts as a catalyst for transformation in others. This is the true burden of transformation that Jung spoke about. Their lives are not entirely their own to live as they choose. They are instruments of change in a world that desperately resists change. They are lightning rods for collective transformation. And this is precisely why Jung's warning matters most. If these women do not actively care for their own souls, if they give endlessly to others without replenishing their own energy, if they sacrifice themselves on the altar of others' transformation, they risk being completely consumed by the very fire they are meant to carry. If you've recognized even one of these signs in yourself, I need you to understand something profound. You are not ordinary. You never were, and you never will be. You are not here to simply blend in or live a conventional life. Jung believed that souls like yours are specifically chosen for the path of individuation, the lifelong, challenging process of becoming psychologically whole, of consciously uniting your shadow and light.
This path will not be easy. It will test you in ways others cannot comprehend. It will isolate you when you crave connection. It will demand courage when you feel weak. But it will also give your life a depth, meaning, and purpose that few people ever touch. So if you carry this unseen power within you, remember this final truth. It is not here to destroy you. It is here to awaken you, and through your awakening, to awaken the world around you. If this video resonated with your soul, subscribe to this channel right now. We're diving deep into Jung's most profound insights. And drop a comment telling me which sign you recognized most.
I'll see you in the next exploration of the unconscious mind.